ये देखो ग्लोबल 20 नामसाई में होने जा रहा है।
Dr. Tamaki,
Professor from Nagasaki.
Nagasaki.
Sir, please give start your delivery.
Ladies and gentlemen, so good afternoon. First, I would like to express my gratitude for the invitation to participate in this G20 event through the C20. Many developed countries such as the European country or Japan also subsidize many water treatment systems in the many countries in Africa or some part of Asia. Although some part of the such system, such as the wastewater treatment facility, can work well. At the past, maybe 3 years.
That this Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which is initiated or which is the world program for which the presidentship has come to India, and under the guidance of our Honorable Prime Minister, the program is going on well, where one earth, one family, one future.
Distinguished authorities, moderate panel members, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, buenos dias, namaskar. Thank you very much for allowing my country to participate through my words in this prestigious event, and a special greet my Latin American brothers who are here today. With the blessing of the Goddess Maria Leonza and the Holy Spirit Courts, the three powers, the Liberator Courts, Indian Courts, Viking Courts, Chamarera Courts, Court Calais, Court Macumba,
First of all, greetings to all of you, respected moderator, Dr. Deligates, and all my learned panelists, co-panelists. From this platform, I would like at the beginning to give my gratitude and sense of, I would say, salute to all the indigenous communities across the world who are fighting for their survival, who are fighting for their, preserving their heritage, their culture and traditions. I can see the similarities. And the same movement I will show in Kathak.
That's Central, I think. Wonderful.
Kazakhstan ka.
But I am not going to ask Mr. Johan to play tabla. Just wait. Come on, it's fine. It's 5 minutes for you. Because he has taken 1 minute of your time.
Yesterday, our colleague from Thailand, then from Japan and India also, they talked about the generation. So now I would like to talk about the education of the generation of Z. The digital generation is totally different from us. When we go to numerology, so we see that we were born in 19 something, yes? Children are born 2000 something. So we have these 19 numbers, which they don't have, and they have these two which we have or not have. So that's why we have to interconnect with each other to understand who is who. So then the most important thing is the access of information that they have. Now there is no limits, no barriers to the information they get. So while access to information is beneficial, Generation Z may also struggle with information overload. This is very important that India can show itself, its ancient civilization, its vast and very deep philosophy and knowledge to the world. And it is not by chance that there is one theory that India is considered the heart of the planet, because there is a theory that all the countries and continents are some organs of the planet. So India is considered the heart of the planet. So being the heart, it can teach a lot, and we should not allow to happen something bad to the heart, because if it is there, then imagine what will happen to the whole planet, to the whole body. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I now invite a young philosopher studying for PhD philosophy course at University of Delhi. Dare I to compare, if South Korea is my parent, India is my Guruji. As a delegate representing my country, the Republic of Korea, I feel incredibly honored to be able to share my perspective with all of you. The first thing I want to speak is that it is pity that many ancient cultures have been destroyed by unwanted people who think that their belief and what they do is the best. This family is, however, in danger. The problem of Eastern Sea, where people wrongly call South Chinese Sea, is full of war cry. Learned from coronavirus was an anti-human effort to affect the ancient culture of Asia. Africa is already gone. South America is only extension of modern Europe. There is time now to value the knowledge and jnana parampara are there to help recover, rebuild, and revitalize Jaya Sanskriti. Let's recover our glorious legacies from our ancestors and
prayer by revered monks of Chowkham Circle. It was followed by the welcome address by Dr. Joram Begi, National Coordinator of the Conclave and Chairman of Vivekananda Kendra. He underlined the role of C20 and gave a brief introduction of the seminar. It was followed by the keynote address by Sri Gurumurthy Ji, Chairman of Vivekananda International Foundation, who emphasized on the interdependence of diversity, inclusion and mutual respect. He said that one size fits all is a false approach. India is a living proof that diverse people can coexist and that people can come together and live peacefully despite their differences. He concluded his speech by suggesting that a deep discussion on diversity should be held on global level. It was then followed by an address by Ambassador Shri Vijay Nambiarji, Sherpa C20 India 2023. He said that people should have empathy and a sense of camaraderie for each other. Peaceful coexistence is possible if only there is mutual respect for each other's differences. He also said that inclusion is meant to enlarge and enrich, and that by sensibly embracing diversity, we can make our lives better. Still today, many marginalized groups are targets of oppression, and everybody must feel them safe and included. It was followed by Shri P.D. Sona, Honorable Speaker, Legislative Assembly, Arunachal Pradesh and Chairman of G20 Programs Address, who enlightened us saying that Arunachal Pradesh is a microcosm of the diversity of India in microcosm. As the state is extremely diverse when it comes to its tribes, cultures, dialects, and even food habits, he concluded his address by asking the audience to include and have mutual respect for not only human beings but for the entire living beings on planet. It was followed by the Chief Minister's address. He began with a brief introduction of the state to the global delegates, how despite having 26 major tribes and more than 100 sub-tribes, the people of Arunachal Pradesh still live in harmony. This harmony is also the result of the continuous hard work of community-based organizations who work for the betterment of Arunachal Pradesh. He then said that India is on a mission to be people-centric and inclusive and has also made a commitment towards finding solutions for global problems. The world is one big family, and by helping the world, we are helping ourselves, he said. This session came to an end with the vote of thanks by Chow Zingu Namchong Ji, our Honorable MLA. Then it was followed by the sessions. The first plenary session was based on the theme of General Deliberation on Theme Diversity, Inclusion and Mutual Respect. The session was moderated by Ambassador Vijay Nambiarji, and we had 6 speakers. As the first speaker, we had Padma Shri Nivedita Videji, Vice President VK Kanyakumari and Member Steering Committee C20 India. She addressed human progress as a spiral progress. She emphasized on the spiral understanding of the universe, stating that all beings are connected together. We had the second speaker. He was Swami Paramatananda Saraswati Ji, Secretary General Hindu Dharma Acharya Sabha and founder, Arsha Vidya Mandir. He discussed on biodiversity and inclusiveness and mutual respect in reference to India as a living biodiversity, mentioning Indian religion as an epitome of inclusion and mutual respect for every agency at its best. He said that the modern world has become more judgmental and the concepts like inclusivity and intolerance are the most endangering forces against diversity, and these agencies must be stopped to avoid marginalization of any kind, and a space must be created where no voice remains unheard. The third speaker was Swami Mokshamitrananda Chaitanya Ji. He's a representative of the chair Mata Amrita Mai Devi. His paper was focused on motherhood as an expression to embrace differences. The fourth speaker was Mr. Kon Debaransi, former Deputy Prime Minister of Thailand and President Thai India Friendship Association. Speaking on the subject of the seminar, he said that C20 is also known as a people-to-people organization. He then proposed a chronology for people-to-people organization where Harmonization, peace, prosperity for all mankind follows inclusion and mutual respect. The fifth speaker, Professor Amarjeeva Lochana, General Secretary of ICCS India, spoke on the role of C20 during COVID-19. And he said that it is not just a gathering, but it serves a higher purpose. It listens to the problems of the world and works at its best to solve them. Then the sixth speaker, Maria Timashova, ICCS Russia, speaking on the subject of the summit, she said that the world needs to listen attentively to identify the transformative power of diversity. Then it was followed by the second plenary session on the theme of understanding inclusion and mutual respect in the context of abled, differently abled, Divyangjan and gender issues. The moderator of the session was Shri Anup K. Mahapatra, VKAI, CYAM Bhubaneswar. We had 7 speakers in this session as well. The first speaker was Shri Nishit Mehta, founder and CEO of Microsign Products. He talked about how even differently abled people can become our asset instead of liability. He recommended to sensitize and raise awareness about Divyangjans. He also asked us to focus on the things that they can do instead of treating them as people who are different. The second speaker was Shri Gopi Shankar M., South Zone representative of the National Council of Transgender Persons. He spoke on the difference between transgender and intersex. He said that queer person's life is a life of trauma, suffering and pain. Before the world can accept them for who they are, it is very important that they accept themselves first. He also talked about how Western concept of LGBTQIA does not accommodate every indigenous sexual identity. Inclusion does not mean acceptance. He concluded by saying that the aim of C20 is to go beyond empathy to accommodate and include every identity. The third speaker was Professor Satya Mahapatra, Director, Institute of Health Science, Bhubaneswar. He started by saying that diversity is not a choice. We are failing to provide them with what they need. Therefore, he suggested a comprehensive therapeutic care with the help of modern-day technology. And he said that India should develop technology to create these technological facilities. The fourth speaker was Dr. Aparna Lalinkar. She talked about rainbow economy, the capitalist monopoly of LGBTQ to forward their own agendas. He suggested that on raising awareness against changing gender at a young age may solve many problems. The fifth speaker was Yuvali Unpapron. While talking about disability and gender issues, she said that education is the foremost step towards breaking down barrier. The sixth speaker was Dr. Chirapat Prapandivyaji, a Padma Shri awardee. He said that when we think about everything as being temporary, our issues and differences would not be a problem. Everything is temporary, including our differences and diversity. The seventh speaker was Gail Vonage from Lithuania. She is a high priestess. She talked on the similarities between the language of India, Sanskrit, and the language of his nation. She said that this language also believes in worshipping nature like Indians. Now, it was followed by the third plenary session with the theme of culture and faith of indigenous communities towards sustainability and development. It was moderated by Dr. Joram Begi. The session had 6 speakers and it was started by Professor Bhagat Oinam, Director JNIAS JNU. He stated that Sustainability and development as a mantra has to be accepted. The world needs modernity and science and technology, which is inevitable, but he says that it all comes with a cost, that is the exploitation of environment. No doubt the development is also a human right, but in that process, environment becomes the victim. He gave examples of Adi community and their belief in spiritual healing and herbal medicine shows that there is no ownership of nature among these communities. Man as the center of everything becomes problematic. He says that forest belongs to deity spirits who is the custodian of the forest, and further said that the indigenous people follow this motto. He also spoke on the autonomy of nature and how nature is in itself an end, and we human beings are just part of it. The next speaker was Sri Jayanta Kumar Sharma, environmentalist, and he spoke on the need to learn from the ecosystem, and further said that the Northeast people are ecosystem themselves. He also said that development should be regenerative. He emphasized on collectivism, mutualism, minimalism, and altruism, and called it as a foundation of modern day paradigm of regenerative development. Taking example from the Northeast, he spoke on how adoption of traditional knowledge system brings many technical solutions. It was followed by the speaker Sri Pai Dave, General Secretary of DPCCT. He emphasized that the very genesis of indigenous faith and cultural philosophy is based on diversity, inclusion, and mutual respect. He said that though the indigenous people and belief system is the most ancient, yet it is relevant even today, and that modernization shouldn't be something that denounces the age-old traditional and cultural system. Rather, it should improvise and revitalize the old system. The indigenous faith and culture is the most liberal and the democratic, which provides sense of respect, the diversity, and create inclusive mutual respect. Conversion in any form in the name of modernization and reformation should be banned. It was followed by Dr. Filmi Bolo, Professor JNU. She spoke of how indigenous people for centuries have been stigmatized of being exotic and barbaric. She said that these Western narratives of the indigenous communities has made them conscious about their own inferiority, and further said that an in-depth research must be done on this aspect. She also said how the role of academicians and researchers becomes very important in unveiling the history of the tribals and to raise awareness to younger generation to preserve the culture and faith. It was followed by our fifth speaker, Sri Kripashankar Bhagat, Jashpur, Chhattisgarh. He talked about how destruction of tribal society, their belief system and practices is endangering the wider world as well. He further spoke on how the development leads to destruction of everything and endangering the very human existence. The next speaker was Dr. Tamaki Ituwama, Professor, Nagasaki University. He emphasized on the sustainable practice of indigenous communities. He dwelt on sustainability and development, focusing on water resources. The seventh speaker, Sri Kedar Kulkarni ji, stated that the idea of indigenous community is related with experience of colonialism, emphasizing that everybody in India is indigenous. He stated that colonial experiences has been for years created a narrative by partially excluding, which is very difficult to overcome. He further spoke about how self-sufficiency can be achieved by borrowing from one's own dharma. He said that if we are governed by dharma, sustainability and development will follow. And he clarified that by dharma, he is not only meaning the religion. It was followed by the fourth plenary session that we had today. It was moderated by Sri Shyam Parende ji, Global Coordinator, Seva International. We had 8 speakers, and the first was Dr. Shashibala. She focused on 2 major cultures, desert and river. The difference in the cultures inspired by humanity differently to live life. She also talked about Western and non-Western cultures and how Western culture focuses on I and non-Western focuses on we. Western philosophy taught us that we are the master of nature, thereby making us greedy. It was followed by our next speaker, Dr. Mindahi C.B. Munoz. He focused on diversity of Mexican languages. He said that every day we are losing diversity, languages, cultures, animals, plants and minerals because of anthropocentrism. We tend to forget that we cannot master nature. We need to understand that traditional ancient knowledge is key to the survival of humanity. We need to bring back family, community and collective dignity. This is the time of reciprocity to give back to earth. Our next speaker, Dr. Naira M, focused on education of Gen Z and Gen Alpha. She emphasized on physical and mental health, which is a recurrent problem of this generation. It was followed by Youngjin An. He began by saying that many ancient culture has been destroyed by unwanted evils, but the revitalization of such cultures is evident in India. He urged everyone to try to recover their lost legacy. Our 5th speaker was His Excellency Alfredo Caldera Guzman. He focused on the culture and diversity of Venezuela and asked for its recognition by UNESCO. His Excellency, it was again followed by the 6th speaker, His Excellency Jason Keats Matthew Hall. He focused on oneness. He referred to oneness not as singular but as plural. Then the 7th speaker, Professor Esmeralda S, spoke on the term reawakening of ancient culture instead of revitalization because culture has only been diminished. She suggested to take only what one needs from nature because others might need it too. And our 8th speaker, Ms. Ezel A, she spoke on how everyone sees the world differently. At the same time, similarly, everyone has different views. If these panoramic views comes together, we can achieve diversity with mutual respect in reality on a greater scale. She said that revitalization of ancient culture should include restoration of food, festivals and cultural art forms as well. It was followed by our 9th speaker, Juan Ho Sanz. He said that despite the adversity, people are giving space to diversity and celebrating it. He then talked about how music as a universal language has the power to bring communities together. Our 10th speaker, Kumari Sujata Nayak, talked about the differences between contract-based society and relationship-based society like India. She suggested that relationship-based society should be allowed to draw their own human rights framework. She also suggested to look at the terms majority and minority in a global context because majority in one country might not be a global majority and minority in one country might not be a global minority as well. The moderator concluded the session and said that as human beings, we should perform our duties towards the world, for a better world. With this, it is the end of the report. My sincere apologies if any names have been mispronounced. This is all from the reporters. Thank you.
Sir, where are you from?
South America.
South America. Wow. Sir, where are you from?
Mexico.
Mexico. Wow. Yes. That is a nice tadok. Tadok means land. Yes.
Oh, this one.
No, that one.
This one?
Yes, we also use that one.
No. This is from here.
Oh, from here. Okay.
Guys,
Mexico.
subscribe my channel.